Hello and welcome to the lecture on debugging CSS. So let's create a folder, Debug CSS. Okay, we might not be writing anything here, but what we'll do, we will copy one external or maybe internal CSS. Right, we'll copy it here and we will debug this CSS file. Okay, so let's open this in the browser. Okay, and how to debug CSS, how to see which element is having what property. So for that you go to inspect mode. Right, once you go to inspect mode, let's open up in the maximize view. You have this arrow here. Okay, when you click this arrow, it says selected. Now you can go point to that element, which element you want, and once you are pointed, it's basically trying to tell you some property there. Right, it's red in color, so just click on it and you go to the right hand side. You find the styles here. You see the H1 is basically red. You can change it. Right, you see the changes has been done, but this changes is not permanent. This is just on this view. If you refresh, that changes will be gone. Okay, so this is how you basically debug your CSS. Typically when we write CSS, we don't really always write and refresh the page. What we do is we go in this inspect mode. Okay, and then we debug that element, and then we use these styles to change that style, and then we come up with an final style that we want, and then we go apply the style onto CSS. Okay, that's how our thinking pattern when you write CSS. Okay, you don't write CSS and refresh the page every time. You go into this debugging mode. Okay, there's an arrow here, you point to it, you find that element, you find that CSS, and then you start adding the CSS property. How to add CSS property, you just click on it. Okay, I've just made a click here and it's asking you to add property. You can say color is green. Okay, then once I'm okay with this setting, I'll just copy this and I'll put this in my CSS file. Okay, every time you think that okay, you have made some mistake, just refresh the page, all the changes are gone. Okay, you can even click on the element to basically, you see the styles here, click on the element, the style will change. Okay, and you want to know where it is coming from, it is coming up from debug.html. okay, so if you are using an external one, let's review the external CSS. Let's open that up, go to inspect mode and then go to paragraph. Right, you can see it's style.css. so now you know this setting is coming up from style.css. You can again click it and open that file. Okay, but the best way is you go to elements. Okay, and then you use this arrow to mark that element, then go to styles, and then you can add your own settings here. Okay, I can say color is green. Okay, you can even add new elements. If you want to add new elements, you can even do that. Right, you can say P color is blue, and I don't want to have this rule, I will just unmark it. Okay, you say it's went back to blue. Okay, so you are playing around by writing CSS on the fly. Okay, this is how we do it. We don't write in CSS because it's hard to debug from there. You have to refresh the page only to see an output, but this is the way you have to debug your CSS, and this is the fastest approach to edit the CSS files. Okay, I highly recommend you play around with this and you will get used to it, and you will find yourself doing this a lot rather than writing the CSS and refreshing the page. Okay, so you will find this inspect option in Firefox and also in the IE, where you can dynamically change the CSS and it will impact your HTML content on the fly. Okay, so that's all about how to debug an CSS style sheet, and I'll see you in the next one.